A few weeks into the season, I made a video going over some off-season additions that were already looking like steals, which is a video that I kind of want to remake because I did make that so early on in the season, and obviously so many things have changed since then. That being said, before I remake that video, today I want to first look at some off-season additions that teams may already be regretting. These could be free agent signings, trades, the decision to not qualify certain players, things like that. As always, I want to know your guys' thoughts, so if there's anything from the offseason that you feel like teams are already regretting, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. This is also the first video of the new year, so I do want to say Happy New Year to all of you guys. I hope you had an amazing holiday season. I did set a goal for myself to hit 100,000 subscribers in 2023, which I know is a long shot, so if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Every subscription helps. And lastly, I do plan on posting on all of my other social medias a lot more this year as well, like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Those are all linked down below in the description, so if you use any of those platforms, be sure to go give me a follow. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the Nashville Predators acquiring Ryan McDonough from the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for defenseman Philippe Myers and AHLer Grant Mismash. There was zero salary retention in this deal, which I feel like makes it tough to look back at from Nashville's perspective. This was basically a cap dump by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it was a cap dump in which they didn't have to retain any salary, they didn't have to attach a draft pick or a prospect to get rid of McDonough. Nashville basically just said, yeah, we'll take him. And considering the fact that Ryan McDonough is 33 years old, has a cap hit of $6.75 million with a no trade clause, and is signed through the 2025-26 season, and is in the midst of probably the worst season of his career thus far. If you're the Predators and you could go back in time, this is a deal that you probably wouldn't make again. Through 28 games, averaging about 20.5 minutes of ice time per game, Ryan McDonough has yet to score. He does have 8 assists. He's currently rocking a career low in terms of Corsi for percentage at just 38.1, and of all the players that are regulars in the Nashville Predators lineup, he has the worst expected goals for percentage at just 41.92. There's no doubt that it has been a very rough first season in Nashville for Ryan McDonough, and like I said, he's 33 years old, so if he's not able to bounce back, then this is a contract that could definitely go from bad to worse depending on how the next year or two goes. This next one is probably the most obvious one of the video. I'm sure you all expected this to be in here. The Edmonton Oilers signing goaltender Jack Campbell to a 5-year, $25 million deal in free agency. Now, there was obviously risk involved when the Edmonton Oilers made this signing for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I feel like it's always risky signing NHL goaltenders to big money long-term deals unless they are consistently one of the best goaltenders in the league. Reason number two, the sample size of Jack Campbell being an above-average starter in the NHL was really small. Yeah, he had his moments with the Maple Leafs where he looked great, but he also had his moments with the Maple Leafs where he was a non-option and played terrible. Just look at last season as a whole, with the exception of like the first couple of months of the season, Jack Campbell really didn't have a great year. So you guys get the point. It was definitely risky committing $25 million to a guy like Jack Campbell over the next 5 seasons, but given Edmonton's goaltending situation at the time, a lot of people, including myself, figured it was worth the risk. So even though we all knew that there was potential for this to go wrong, I don't think anybody could have expected it to go this wrong. It has been worst case scenario. Jack Campbell has legitimately been one of, if not the worst goaltenders in the NHL this season that have started 15 or more games. Jack Campbell is currently rocking a 3.9 goals against average, an .876 save percentage, and a minus 12.4 goals saved above expected. He has lost the starting role to Stuart Skinner not even halfway into the first season of his 5-year contract. Like I said, it has been worst case scenario. I feel like it's safe to say that if the Edmonton Oilers could, they would definitely undo this signing, especially when you consider the fact that Stuart Skinner has been really good this season, and he's the guy in net now for the Oilers and is likely going to be for a long time. The next move I want to talk about, or moves, or lack of moves, whatever you want to call this, I have the Chicago Blackhawks not qualifying Dominik Kubalik or Dylan Strome and letting them walk straight to unrestricted free agency. Now, before I say anything else, because I know there's going to be a lot of comments saying, well, the Chicago Blackhawks' whole goal heading into the season was to be bad, and in order to be as bad as possible, you have to gut the team, you have to get rid of your good players, and that's what they did with Strome and Kubalik. But my whole thing is, especially for a team in a rebuilding situation like the Chicago Blackhawks are currently, I think asset management is very important, and if you ask me, letting Strome and Kubalik walk to unrestricted free agency agency, not getting anything in return for them, as opposed to maybe trying to sign each of them to short-term deals and then trading them down the line, is poor asset management. Now, it should also be said that Strome and Kubalik's value at the time they were not qualified by the Blackhawks was a lot lower than it probably is now. That being said, though, I still feel like there would have been a much better way for the Blackhawks to go about this, a way in which they actually would have got something in return for both Kubalik and Strome, even if it wouldn't have been much, a mid-round draft pick, a C-level prospect, just something. And looking back at this now, the fact that both Dylan Strome and Dominik Kubalik are having very strong seasons with their new teams just adds insult to injury and makes this look a lot worse for the Blackhawks. Dylan Strome is third on the Washington Capitals in points currently with 28. He has been a very serviceable first-line center in the absence of Nicholas Backstrom, and Dominik Kubalik is currently second on the Red Wings in points and goals, only behind Dylan Larkin in both of those categories, and just one goal away already from tying his total of all of last season. And speaking of the Red Wings, next up we have Detroit signing defenseman Ben Chiarot to a 4-year, $19 million deal in free agency. Now, this is one that isn't just about hindsight. Even at the time the Red Wings signed Chiarot to this deal, it was a little bit of a head scratcher. Now, Detroit was really thin on the left side. They needed to sign a guy to come in and play top 4 minutes, and I feel like they wanted a long-term stable partner for Moritz Seider, whose partner was kind of just rotating all of last season. But man, that Chiarot-Seider pairing has not been good this season whatsoever. I would say defensively, they have been Detroit's worst pairing that has consistently played together. It's become very clear now that we have a relatively big sample size from this season of those two playing together that their games really just don't complement each other well. Now, that's not to say Ben Chiarot has been completely useless for the Red Wings. His skill set and the things he does, he brings a lot of valuable things to the table that this Red Wings team lacked in years past. They were way too soft out front. Ben Chiarot has definitely fixed that. He's mean, he's physical, he's tough to play against, but I just feel like the Red Wings could have gotten a player who does all of those things for a lot cheaper than what they got Ben Chiarot for. In a perfect world, I feel like Ben Chiarot is a third pairing defenseman, and committing $19 million to a guy like that over 4 years, I don't think that's really an ideal move. This signing has kind of gone about the way everyone expected it to. And now for the final moves I want to go over in this video, I'm going with the Washington Capitals not qualifying Ilya Samsonov, letting him walk to unrestricted free agency, and also trading Vitek Vanacek. Now, first off, I do want to say Darcy Kuemper has been good for the Washington Capitals this season. I'm not saying they shouldn't have signed him to the contract they signed him to after they made the moves to not qualify Samsonov and trade Vanacek. I think signing Kuemper was a smart move. This really isn't about Darcy Kuemper at all. It's just more so about Vitek Vanacek and especially Ilya Samsonov, who I feel like the Washington Capitals just got a little bit too impatient with. There was a time before Sorokin, Shesterkin, and Samsonov all came over to the NHL that those three were viewed as the best goaltending NHL-affiliated prospects. And although Samsonov had his ups and downs as a member of the Washington Capitals, this is a guy that you could clearly see had all the talent in the world and all the tools to be a fantastic NHL-level goaltender, and this season with the Maple Leafs, he's shown us just that. Through 14 games this season, Samsonov has a record of 11-3, a 2.2 goals against average, a .920 save percentage, and a 6.7 goals saved above expected. He's having a breakout season, the best of his career by far, and same goes for Vitek Vanacek in New Jersey. Again, I want to say this is not a knock on Darcy Kuemper whatsoever, but it is just crazy to think that the Washington Capitals could have both Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek, who are both significantly younger than Darcy Kuemper, and their cap hits together are less than what Darcy Kuemper's cap hit is this season. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Those are some off-season moves that I feel like NHL teams could already be regretting. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say, so if there's any moves that I didn't talk about in today's video that you feel like teams could already be regretting, be sure to let me know what those moves are down below in the comments. And while you're down there, if you could, please be sure to drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. That is the best way to let me know that you enjoyed. Also, be sure to check out all of my other social medias that are linked down below in the description. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.